Can Chris Hemsworth get to the chopper?
Move fast, stay low.
Something's wrong. The city's on lockdown.
Yeah, no shit.
Extraction is the new big action epic on Netflix. My name is Sinclair. I use the tag illegal priest on a lot of social media, and I hope this review lets you know if this film is going to be worth your time. Extraction is about a soldier turned mercenary who's hired by an Indian drug lord to rescue his son who is kidnapped by another drug lord. Chris Hemsworth plays Tyler Rake, the mercenary with a traumatic past that makes him uncomfortable around young boys. And he's fine in this role, but this character is not particularly remarkable compared to his other ones. But Chris Hemsworth is definitely up to the task when it comes to all the fighting and stunts in this film, of which there is plenty. Extraction's a bit of a slog for the first half hour, really. And it starts out with an unnecessary flash forward, and that doesn't really serve too much of a purpose. My best guess is to promise you, hey, there will be some action sit through this first half hour until then. This was a book or graphic novel adaptation, and the script for this was partially written by the Russo brothers, who worked on a lot of the later Marvel movies. So it does attempt some story setups and character motivations, but still kind of falls flat. And maybe a little bit on the actors, but I feel it's more the director. There's moments where you could tell that if something was written on the page, like it could be really dramatic, and mind's eye, and oh, this is going to be great, and then when it ends up on the screen, it just didn't hit that note that I think that they were going for when they were writing it. Extraction is a total of 2 hours, and once you get to that half-hour point of the film, you get to see what a lot of the gimmick of the film actually is. And that's when Rake comes face to face with the kidnappers of the son of the drug lord that hired him. A sniper that's part of his mercenary team helps him get the upper hand on the kidnappers so he can get the kid, start taking them back home. Or are we? The drug lord that ordered the boy to be kidnapped is kind of off to the side, just giving directions in the shadows. Which I would say is unfortunate, because this guy probably had the most charisma out of about anybody in the film. I mean, he really delivered, but they didn't have too much face-to-face with, antagonist, protagonist moments. But this drug lord has some influence, so he orders a whole lockdown of the area so that this mercenary team, Hemsworth and the child, have nowhere to go. They are stuck in this town. And this part reminded me of another Russo brothers produced film, one with Chadwick Boseman, 21 Bridges. If you watch the trailer for that, that's kind of part of the gimmick, is that Chadwick Boseman locks down all of Staten Island or something like that, which actually doesn't turn out to be a big part of the plot. But I think when they were cutting the trailer and thinking about how they were going to sell the film, they had no idea how, so they just kind of went like, oh, it's about locking down this whole area. Just a case of a trailer needing a hook, and I don't think they were going to get people in the theater from word of mouth. But I digress from that. Hemsworth must now extract himself and the kid to save the day. And oh boy, it does pick up from here. And I'm not going to get too specific into things, so I don't want to be super spoilery, but I do want to talk about this part because this is a big set piece. It's a super long action scene master shot that goes for an incredibly long time. We get explosions, knife fights, gun fu, car chases, a bunch of fights with masked stuntmen, the whole 9 yards. It seemed like a lot of the shots were spliced together via CGI. Maybe there were some other camera tricks, but you can definitely see the seams, as it were. Stunts and action in particular are where this excels. This was directed by Sam Hargrave, so I guess he was a stunt coordinator for some of the Russo films that he did. I guess he was a stunt coordinator for some of the Russo Marvel films. So he's flexing those action chops here, because he does seem to know that. And Hemsworth can keep up. He's murking those stuntmen left and right. They stand no chance against him, but it's still fun to watch. There is some peril. Extraction does attempt some drama between Hemsworth and the kid. We also have a break in the action with David Harbour, and there's some drama there too that, at least with me, didn't completely land. And I like David Harbour. But between this and Hellboy, having some rough times. And Netflix people guest starring in other Netflix things tends to happen a bit, and I'm looking at you, Betty Gilpin. The look, cinematography, and color grading of the film, though, is like this eye-bleeding yellow. It would put Michael Bay to shame, not in a good way. I mean, it looks like somebody threw creamed corn at the screen. You end up with this yellow haze that'll either give you allergies or the coronavirus. And I do think I know why it is like that. I think they were hiding some of the CGI seams, as it were. It was kind of rough. I can think of a particularly bad car crash in particular that was a big car crash scene, but the CGI on it was just, ugh. There's also part of a car chase with the inside, I think, being like a car that's just sitting there with a green screen of some of the stuff happening around him. And what you're seeing outside of the car doesn't necessarily track with Hemsworth driving, which is kind of amusing in its own way, but it distracts when you're getting pumped into the action. You're looking at that and like kind of wanting to laugh. And trying to pretend that this is a big, huge blockbuster, it takes you out of that moment of having that feeling. So we don't get to see the other side of the process. Maybe that was the best choice they had, but in the final product, it didn't make it great. And I do like to talk about score a bit. I'm going to keep this pretty short and sweet, though. The score was terrible. It was... I don't know. Why didn't they use Ben sound? But should you watch Extraction? Not so great direction of scenes that are more dramatic, or also just how the actors, I think, are directed. Ugly color grading and some rough CGI, but has some solid and unique action pieces, though. So much so that I'm going to say this is an up. I do suggest this. This is a case where I would say this film is exactly in the middle and we're rounding up. And some of that comes to the fact that, everybody's stuck indoors looking for entertainment. This does give some of that action blockbuster fix that, I've been craving. And you do buy into Chris Hemsworth being able to kick this much butt. The hand-to-hand fighting has some particularly unique moments, or like using the gun butts and things like that. Yes, hi kitty. If you aren't so much of just a straight-up action movie freak or Chris Hemsworth fan, might be better to check out Coffee and Kareem or Spencer Confidential. There's more of a rounded outness to those films, and we have some reviews of them too. You want them to smash the like button? No? Okay. Thank you for listening to my take, and I hope I at least conveyed enough that you know whether you would like this or not. And don't let spoilers run your life. Peace.